how different does that sound than some wholesaler who is calling up, hey, I've got these deals that I want to wholesale. Are you interested in buying more properties? Like awkward wholesaler conversation. Guys, how casual, how calm, how much more rapport do you think that you would have if you approached it that way, as opposed to how a lot of wholesalers do? So that's called posture, and that is the first step of establishing credibility with buyers. Whenever you make that first impression with them, the first impression is one of the most important pieces to establishing great rapport with the buyers.
People have got to understand the art and the science of sales. We call it sales, even though obviously that can mean so many different things, but whatever you want to call it, there is definitely an art and a science to being at the highest levels. And one of the things, James, that I don't know if this is talked about or not, but here's the deal. If you buy a course or buy a book or go to an event or whatever, and you're investing in yourself, becoming a better salesperson and a better leader, your return on investment is so much higher on that than on any marketing channel that you'll ever do. Go buy a $5, a $10, a $20 book, or a $1,000, a $10,000, a $20,000 program, whatever. Your return on investment when you invest in yourself, becoming a better salesperson and a better leader. If you don't believe me, you might want to go back and read Rich Dad Poor Dad again, because I know you've all read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I don't think that you can even say the words real estate investor without having first read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I don't think it's even allowed, because that's what everybody credits with everything these days, it seems like. And in Rich Dad Poor Dad, correct me if I'm wrong, James, I haven't read that book in 20 years, literally. But I think he talks in there about how important sales is and how it's probably the single most important skill to have. Is that right?
It probably is the single most important skill that you can have, that you can always refine, you can always improve your skill set in the realm of sales, because sales is influence. That's what sales is. Sales is the ability to influence somebody to take an action. That's ultimately what sales is. The better that you become at that, the more your wealth will grow, but also like the more impact that you're going to have in the world. So we'll touch on one last thing around the disposition side is whenever you're selling the property, you've got to be able to create demand for that property. If you're calling your one-off buyer, like your go-to buyer, because you sold 1 million properties to them, or you're giving it to one of these large dispo companies. I'm not going to name any names, but their initials may be KG or NW. If you're going to one of those companies, hands down, every single time you're leaving money on the table, that's okay at a certain point in your business. That's okay. But what we're talking about here is we're talking about doubling your average profit per deal, seeing a 2x on your average profit per deal, and how you can intentionally do that. And one of the ways to do that is creating more demand for your properties. How do you think that these big disposition companies operate the way that they do? They create a lot of demand for their properties. So you got to be able to create more demand, and that you don't create demand by calling up your trusted go-to investor. You create demand by increasing the number of eyeballs, the number of people that have their eyeballs on that property.
People that think that the buyer's list is the secret. I know you hinted at this earlier. I hope that the work that we've done with our clients has proven that it's not the buyer's list that's the secret. If that were the case, then the playing field would be relatively level, because in most states in the United States, you can get that information in a day or two. You can either buy it from another wholesaler, you can trade lists with other wholesalers, there's all these things. You can buy lists off the internet, you can skip trace them, you can get email addresses, you can do all that stuff in a day. Worst case, you can do that in a week. That is not the only secret sauce. It's always quality and quantity. What I just talked about is quantity. The number of people on your list, the number of phone numbers, the number of emails, all that stuff. That's just quantity. Congratulations, you got the quantity. The quality is the role playing that we did is talking about the quality. You can imagine if that's the quality on the first phone call, imagine that multiplied out times every time we're on the phone with them, that rapport. Imagine that on every text that we send, every email that we send to these people, how we build out the entire system around all this stuff. And like I said, it's the same on the acquisition side. James, you already know that. The quality that we expect and that we give to homeowners, similar on the other side with the buyers. Like I am heavily interested in the quality of what we're doing and saying, James, I think you're the master on quantity, which is in a lot of ways what I call marketing and lead generation. But after that happens, once you're on the phone with these people, can you close the deals? Whether you're talking acquisitions or dispositions.